Our sacred spaces are drowning in unnecessary noise. Phones chime, voices chatter, and the air, meant for contemplation, is fractured by trivialities. We have forgotten the fundamental purpose of these sanctuaries. They are havens of quiet, where the soul can breathe and connect with something larger. Instead, we transform them into extensions of our noisy lives, diluting their power. This constant barrage of sound is a spiritual impediment. It creates a barrier between us and the sacred. How can we hear wisdom when our ears are filled with our own cacophony? True spiritual depth is found in the silences we allow. Consider the energy you bring into a sacred space. Is it one of peace or agitation? Do you contribute to the sanctity or chip away at it? Sometimes the most spiritual act is to simply be silent, to absorb, to listen. The universe speaks in a language far more ancient and subtle than human words. The intrusion of distractions into sacred spaces is an act of profound disrespect. It disrespects the sanctity of the place, a space for higher purposes and communion with the divine. It disrespects fellow seekers striving for peace only to have their efforts shattered by notifications or irrelevant conversations. This chaos is a symptom of a restless modern mind, addicted to stimulation and uncomfortable with stillness. We carry our anxieties and digital tethers into places designed to offer respite. Imagine a musician tuning an instrument in a raucous crowd. The subtle adjustments required for harmony would be lost. Our spiritual selves require a quiet environment to resonate with higher vibrations. Distractions prevent this essential tuning process, keeping us dissonant. True spiritual practice requires us to be fully present to the moment, to the space, and to the subtle energies at play. To honor the sacred, we must cultivate an environment conducive to deep, undistracted presence. Silence is not merely the absence of sound, it is a potent presence. It is the canvas upon which the universe paints its deepest truths. In spiritual practice, silence is the most direct conduit to the divine. When we embrace silence, we create an inner sanctuary where we can meet ourselves and the infinite. Many spiritual traditions recognize the immense power of silence. Words can obscure meaning, but silence allows for a direct experience. When the mind is stilled, we become receptive to a different kind of knowing. Maintaining silence in sacred spaces is about cultivating an atmosphere ripe for spiritual connection. By choosing silence, we open ourselves to a richer form of communication, a dialogue with the divine in the sacred language of stillness. In sacred spaces, there is an overemphasis on speaking and an underappreciation of listening. True wisdom often blossoms from the ear that truly listens. Listening is an active state of receptivity and opening of the self to subtle messages. Speaking can become entangled with the ego, driven by a desire to be seen as knowledgeable or devout. The sacred act of listening requires us to set aside our own agenda and be present. When we prioritize listening, we create room for the divine to speak. Let us cultivate the art of sacred listening, enhancing the silence rather than breaking it. The deepest connections and revelations emerge when we are fully immersed in listening. There is a growing tendency to treat spirituality as a performance. True spirituality is about the sincerity of our inner state, not how devout we appear to others. When spiritual practice becomes a performance, the focus shifts from the divine to the self. This leads to a superficial engagement with spirituality. Genuine spirituality thrives in authenticity and humility. It is often quiet, unseen by the world, unfolding in silent contemplation and compassionate action. The divine seeks a sincere heart, not elaborate shows of piety. When truly connected to our spiritual core, the need to perform diminishes. Let us challenge ourselves to look beyond the surface and value inward substance over outward show. True spiritual treasures are found in unassuming, heartfelt practice. The way we behave in sacred spaces reflects our inner state and spiritual understanding. It is an opportunity for profound self-reflection. Observe your habits without judgment but with inquiry. Do you approach the sacred with mindfulness and reverence, or with habitual unconsciousness? Recognizing our patterns is the first step towards cultivating a more authentic spiritual practice. Your behavior in a sacred space is a personal responsibility and opportunity. By honoring the silence and minimizing distractions, you enhance your spiritual experience and contribute to the collective sanctity. Consider a terreiro, a sacred ground in Afro-Brazilian traditions, pulsating with ancestral energy. While filled with powerful rhythms and chants, there is an underlying silence that amplifies the spiritual work. This silence allows the voices of the spirits to be heard and felt. In the terreiro, every sound has a purpose, every movement a significance. The silence between drum beats and during deep invocation is crucial. Participants understand that extraneous noise would disrupt the delicate, energetic weave. This principle extends to all sacred spaces. Less human-generated noise means more spiritual presence. By quieting our egos and unnecessary vocalizations, we contribute to a collective field where the spiritual heartbeat can be heard more clearly. The journey to discovering the universe within is paved with stillness. In the noise of modern life, our true essence becomes obscured. Silence helps us clear away the debris and uncover our innate spiritual treasures. When the external world quiets down, we begin to hear the subtle voice of our intuition. This inner listening unlocks vast reservoirs of wisdom and compassion. The quiet path is about profound, alert stillness. It is where we touch the timeless dimension of our being. The divine is accessible when we quiet the mind and open the heart. Embracing this still path requires courage and discipline. As you cultivate inner stillness, you become more attuned to beauty, resilient in challenges, and deeply connected to life. This is a call to action to embrace silence as a fundamental spiritual practice. Reclaim the sanctity of sacred spaces and inner lives by tuning into stillness. Make a deliberate choice for quiet in worship, meditation, and daily routines. Challenge norms that equate noise with spiritual fervor. Encourage others to recognize the value of silence. In sacred spaces, contribute to peace, not detract from it. Reflect on how to integrate intentional silence into your life. Share this message through your transformed presence. Let us create a ripple effect towards honoring the quiet. The soul speaks in whispers, and the divine awaits in stillness. Let us learn to listen.